What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
I was really hoping that you would hit record as I was like in the middle of saying cannot hear a thing.
I was hitting record, but it took a second. Cannot hear a thing. I need to move closer.
Not a thing. I've been unsubscribing from so many emails and I just still get them.
I need to do that as well. But I feel like you said, it doesn't work. I still get emails.
Don't get me wrong. There are some that like I haven't gotten them and it has worked, but there's a couple places that will like differentiate their emails. So if you hit unsubscribe on the one, it's only like unsubscribing you from that type of email.
Oh, not all of them.
Yeah, like I forget which one it was. It was Untapped, and I unsubscribed from their marketing and promo emails, and then like I just got an email from them about like, was it an event? It was something, and I was like, I already just unsubscribed from you. Why am I getting this? And I looked at it, and it's like unsubscribe from like our sales emails. I'm like, well, what? I just hit fucking unsubscribe. Regardless,
it should be like when you're applying for jobs or looking for jobs, and you get emails all the time, and you're like, I've unsubscribed to these so many times. I think I still get sometimes, and I just gave up trying to unsubscribe because they still come through. But I still
get messages on LinkedIn for sales positions and business positions when my job has been in IT for the past 3.5 years of my life.
Yeah, you're almost,
like
that's not really gonna help.
No, not gonna help me. But
hello everyone.
I digress. Hello, friends. Welcome to episode number 57.
I was
58?
literally just pulling it up to see 57.
I think it's 57, but it is 57.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to episode 57 of F1 Underground. This is going to be, I'm really excited about this one because there's a lot to talk about.
I have a feeling this is going to be a long one, but it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I was already saying to Ange, I was like, this is going to be a long one tonight.
Yeah,
I was
this is
like,
going to be a long one.
Yeah. Just because we have so much to talk about. But
sorry, Kyle, if you really listen to these while you're getting them together, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Goddamn. Sorry, Kyle.
This is going to be a long one. But yeah, we have a lot to cover because I wouldn't say the race was on the boring side, but there was a lot of drama.
Really? Wait, really?
Yes,
I thought this was great.
Maybe because I watched it live, you did not. So maybe I was like half asleep after all day Saturday. But no, I mean, maybe it wasn't boring. It wasn't as exciting as, I mean, the qualifying for both sprint and normal.
Yes.
Were insane. But yeah, there was a lot of drama off the track, if you want to say.
It definitely was a drama-filled weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But in like multiple aspects too. But we'll get into that. We'll talk about the race. We'll start with our normal weekly news and meme of the week. And then we'll also jump into our recap of the Red Bull showcase down in Washington, D.C. that we went to this past Saturday.
Yeah, it was fun.
I was like a 5-year-old child, but we'll get into that.
Newsflash. I just found another meme. This one's better. I think I might.
Oh, boy. Casey's got 3 memes. She's bumping up her numbers.
No. I had another one. It was a video. I'll just tell you what my other one was. The original one was going to be because Max was in the cooldown room and he laughed at the Lance Stroll crash into Daniel Ricciardo and like covered his face. So someone put the video of him laughing and Charles laughing from Suzuka next to each other, or not Suzuka, is it Australia? And it's perfect. So that was what I was going to be because it looks exactly the same, but I just found a better one and I posted it earlier. That's what we're
the fact that he's laughing like that is cracking me up.
Oh, yeah, I put the link in because I was going to lose it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I was pulling up threads because I needed the articles for the weekly news. I didn't do that before.
So unprepared.
I know, sorry. I have everything else. Also, okay, this is not my meme of the week. I'm just going to say this before. So, it's from years ago. I think it's from Lando's rookie year, a video from Coda. He did a hot lap with Jimmy Butler. Have you ever seen the video?
Oh, I remember we've talked about
Yes,
this
we've talked about this before. So
yeah.
I posted it because it came up on my TikTok. So I like downloaded it from ESPN and I posted it on Threads and I said, F1, if you're seeing this and Travis Kelce makes it to Miami, please make him do a hot lap. And I tagged Alpine too.
That would be hilarious. That'd be really awesome because then they would also talk about it on the Kelce Brothers podcast.
Yes, I want to hear it on theirs.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool.
And I don't even know if I would want Pierre or Esteban to be the one that gives him the hot lap, but it would have to be one of them. Just Lando was so funny with Jimmy Butler, so Lando would be so funny with him. The first time we talked about this was a while ago when we had first started the show, and I had watched it and I loved it. It was hilarious, but I definitely could watch it again because it was like a really good watch of him. Like, well, I literally posted it right before we started,
so
it's right there for you to find. So it's easy for you to find on Threads.
Perfect.
It's just because Jimmy Butler is so tall in that car, and Lando looks like a child. And then
he's barely, if I remember correctly, he's like barely fitting in the car, right?
Yes, and Jimmy Butler is like, please just go slow. Please just go slow.
Like, also, what a question to ask an F1 driver.
Please go slow, yeah.
Or like a request to have for an F1 driver. It's just, hey, drive this car slow, please. Meanwhile, slow to them is anything like just under 100 miles per hour is slow to them. Like,
I wonder what it feels like for them when they're driving like normal cars on the street. Like, do they feel like they're crawling?
It's gotta be brutal at some point.
Like when they're driving through the streets of Monaco and like their normal cars, I know they're all in their souped up like Ferraris and McLarens, and
they're not on a track sending that thing. You know, they're stopping for pedestrians and stopping for traffic. It's gotta feel brutal to them.
It's gotta feel.
They must hate it.
Brutal. They definitely hate it. That'd be a fun question to ask. If we ever got to do like interviews with them, I'd be like, how does it feel to drive? Do you feel like you're slow or fast?
That is a good question to ask.
That'd be a good one.
Maybe we can ask Mark the next time he interviews a driver. We can ask him to ask that question. That is a good one.
That's a good one. Okay. Meme of the week. We're on our first tangent. I can go first.
Am I going first?
No, I can. Since now I have one and a better one. So this picture showed up today. It's the Red Bull mechanics with the trophy, and it looks like they're using it as a hula hoop. I wish there was a video because I want to see if, like, obviously that thing was probably heavy. They're not really going to use it as a hula hoop. It's falling to the ground and it's going to shatter. But it's just so funny. People are like, their intrusive thoughts one. Like,
you ever seen you've seen the guys on Instagram or TikTok that are like, they're called the Pointer Brothers, I think is their name. And they're the ones that, like, they say something and they're like, oh, man, it'd be a shame if we went to get ice cream right now. And then they give each other the side eye. This feels like that caused with this situation where, like, one of the mechanics was like, man, it'd be a shame if we use these as hula hoops right now. And just, like, looked at each other side eye real fast. That feels like that's what birthed this situation. Yeah.
So people were like, they're gonna break. I'm like, is it like a little disrespectful? No, come on, they're not gonna break. I really don't think they let them go out of their hands. Also,
no, there's no way.
Red Bull is winning. Like, they're so calm and cool. Like, they have nothing to worry about in that garage. So I just thought it was funny. I really wish there was a video so we could see the entire thing.
You can clearly tell this is literally just a photo op, especially because the mechanic on the left is taking the photo. Like, this was
the first response, and it's the best. Someone by the name of Johnny posted the photographer, and it's that picture of Squidward looking out the window to SpongeBob Patrick.
That is so good. I love that meme. That meme, when it is used properly, and this is a proper use of it, it's so good. It is so good.
That's a good meme. But yeah, that was my meme of the week. Mine's
not going to live up to this. Mine is not going to live up to this at all. Hey, good work, JT.
Thank you.
Way to work. So obviously, this is a combination of recent pop culture times and also recent race. So obviously, Lance Stroll rammed Daniel Ricciardo in the back yesterday, which is not yesterday, Sunday. Just horrible. But I guess, and I actually was going to look to see if this is confirmed. Apparently,
This is confirmed.
Okay, so in some new Taylor Swift lyrics, she talks about, I'm an Aston Martin that you steered straight into blank. I don't know what the next word is, but somebody highlighted it over and said, I'm an Aston Martin that you steered straight into Daniel Ricciardo, and it shows a picture of the crash. And I just thought it was hilarious just because it's so perfectly well timed that it just works amazingly.
Sorry.
Whoa, Casey.
I was pulling up the lyric when I hit play by accident.
We're going to get DMCA'd.
I know, it's what I want to play. The real lyric is, I'm an Aston Martin. It's kind of perfect. I'm an Aston Martin that steered you straight into the ditch.
Oh, that's good.
And then ran and hid.
Fucking Jesus. God, Taylor Swift just predicted the future. Holy shit. When did that album come out? Friday?
Friday.
And this happened Sunday? Taylor Swift.
And I will tell you, Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso's TikTok was on it.
That was another thing. The same thing as this. I saw that. I saw somebody posted a picture of it and was like, Aston Martin's social media stays winning or something like that. And then showed a clip of him like listening to it. And I was like, is this real or did somebody edit this? And I guess it's real, which is just fucking hilarious.
No, it's him and he's like going like this, like shushing the crowd. It's so funny. But no, I saw today, this is the best rumor that came out of Formula One last year. Like the best thing that could have happened. But earlier today I saw, I don't know where it was from. It was a news source. It was a news channel clip from another country. And they were talking about this and how it like basically fully believing in the rumor that they were together.
Oh my
God.
God.
There was no truth to it.
I love when news outlets just buy into all that stuff and just run with it. Like
people like, no way they actually think this is true.
Yeah.
Like there was no Gen Z or millennial on that news production team being like, this is not actually true.
Yeah.
Like what?
Nobody under or around the age of like 30 being like, hey, wait, hold on. Like,
this is not true.
We need to look at this again. Like,
try again.
Very good.
But yeah, that's the best rumor to ever come. When that happened last year, and the fact that he ran with it, and then you saw like drivers that were in IndyCar and NASCAR being interviewed, being like, "Have you heard this rumor about Fernando Alonso and Taylor Swift?"
It got so out of hand so fast.
But it was so good. But yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. That she has that lyric in the song.
And she's
and the song is
that's good.
The song is called "I'm Gonna Get You Back." So
fantastic. That is
even better.
Wonderful.
Yes. Okay. Weekly news. Really not that much besides some stuff that came out today. All regarding Ferrari.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Hold on. I'm pulling it up. Jeez.
We froze there for a second.
I know. I thought I had all this stuff pulled up for. Okay, first, Ferrari is set to announce that HP is going to be their title sponsor, which is huge.
Yeah.
Because it's saying that the money that they're going to bring is going to be up there with what Oracle brought to Red Bull. So it's a huge financial win, obviously, because they need to pay a very big salary coming up. So it's definitely going to help. But when you think about it, like Scuderia, Ferrari, HP, it kind of goes. I don't mind it.
It works. It kind of works.
I mean, but who's going to actually say the full title name? No one. Everyone's just
nobody.
Ferrari.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
You're not saying Oracle RedbullRacing or you're not calling them out by the full name. You're still going to say Ferrari. But yeah, the fact that HP now is going to be plastered all over that car, because it's going to be such a like all over the place, just like Oracle is on the Red Bull's car. It's just I thought this was so funny because like my immediate thought was like the whole spiel with how F1 is just a money sport, and it's like the more money you have means the better car you can build, means the better performance you get and everything. And I was like, oh, that's great. Ferrari will have more money now to pour into the car. And then I was like, I stopped and like analyzed that sentence for like a split second, and I was like, it's Ferrari. They're not poor. Like
No.
they're not like a poor team, you know. So I just thought I think it's gonna be great because you're right. They do have to pay Charles's massive salary.
No, Lewis.
Or Lewis's. I'm sorry. Wow, I wasn't even fucking thinking. Wow, yes.
Yeah, Lewis.
They have to now be able to afford Lewis's salary, which is like huge. And it's just, yeah, I mean, any other additional investment you can get to bring in this, you know, money to your team is fantastic. But yeah, the fact that it's already being reported that it's on par with what Oracle is to Red Bull, that's huge for Ferrari.
And it could be set like a thing next year for 2025. So
yeah,
it's coming. I mean, the article I was looking up that I posted, Mark has an article as well. Like it says HB has been in F1 before. They worked with Williams in the early 2000s. So they have a thing. But then people were like, I can't think of like Ferrari with a title sponsor. And I was like, Marlboro and that Missoni went up. Like they all, like they've had title sponsors before just because it's Ferrari. But like I said, you're still going to call it Ferrari. Like,
yeah, it's not going to be, we're not going to sit here and go on this podcast back and forth and be like, HP Ferrari, you know,
it's not like
Ferrari, HP, whatever it is. It's still going to be Ferrari, you know.
We don't have a steak Sauber kick situation on our hand. They're not changing the name. It's freaking Ferrari, like we said. It's I mean, the technology side will be cool, I think, to see what they could bring. I'm sure they'll bring something decent.
It's definitely going to be really, really cool on the internal business end that we unfortunately don't see. That it's like see what HP brings in for them. I mean, I thought it was really cool. I think, like I said, it's not going to be like a major stake kick situation name change. Like
these are Cash App Racing Bull. No, we're not going anywhere near that. It's like we said, it's Ferrari. The name is historic. It's not changing. It's okay. So that was the first piece of news today with Ferrari. And then that's what I woke up to. And then a short few hours later, something even cooler, which I'm very excited for. I did not know this history with Ferrari. And I think we'll save most of the week because we can easily do a history with that one next week on this more. But for Miami next week, they will be running a special livery and race suits that will be blue.
It's gonna
literally blue. It's so good. Like I literally was like, before I posted, I said, before you lose your mind, I said, and this is what we can talk about next week. Ferrari raced with a blue and white livery back in 1964. And when you see the car, someone posted it. I should bring it up.
I was gonna say you would send me the picture of it.
Yeah, hold on. I can do it again.
Oh, wait, they tweeted a video out 3 hours ago. Oh, it's just like a hype video, but there's blue overtones in the video.
It looks like a 3D. But this is the car from 1964. It's got like this navy blue with white, and then the blue inside on the wheels. If they can do that somehow, so good. Like if it doesn't look like this,
so good.
I'll be disappointed.
I don't know. I'm gonna hype this up enough in my head that if the car is not, if the car, and you'll understand this when I say it, if the car is not a red to blue transition that Lightning McQueen has in his dream sequence of the first Cars movies when he's thinking about him going to Dynaco, I will be upset. If it's like, we added a blue line, like, no. Like
like what they have now with like where the yellow line is, if it's blue, no.
Yeah, no. Also, will kind of look like Spider-Man, but also not enough to make it feel better in my head. So, no. If you're doing a blue car, you need to do it right. And blue is so different than red, and it's just like I'm picturing it in my head. I think a white and blue like that would look beautiful. If you do, especially like you literally just take the red on the car now and make it blue, and you take the black on the car now and you make it white. Oh my God, that would be the most beautiful car I think I've ever seen in my life.
It needs to be mainly blue. It needs to be fully blue.
If less than 50% of the cars is not, well, how do I say this?
Also, I don't want it to look like USA. I don't want it to be red, white, and blue.
I don't think it will. No, I don't think it will, because teams will do the USA liveries for Austin, because that's more so, I think, is like the known United States, GP. Like, sure, this is Miami and we have Vegas now as well, but like this is like Austin has always been, at least to me, like that's the United States race,
Yeah, that is. I mean, it is a US GP.
I don't know how to phrase it, but like if the car is not at least 75% blue, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm setting myself up for failure there, and I feel like we're setting ourselves up for failure.
We're gonna be let down. I have a feeling. I hope we're not let down, but I just like the blue race suits. If they're like that, but like blue Ferrari merch, I'm gonna be living in that blue sweatshirt I made last year. All next weekend.
Yeah, that blue. I love that blue sweatshirt that you have. Like something about taking a team that is known for red and putting it in blue. It just immediately is like, oh, that looks so good.
I mean, it's like the Phillies. Like they're mainly red, but the minute they wear those powder blues, everyone's like, thank God! Like everyone loves them because they're just a classic. But yeah, the blue is it's going to be such a difference, a welcome change. It'll be so nice. I wanted to bring up because there should be 2 shades of blue that we will see. The article I posted talks about it. I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation of Azzurro, if that's how you say it. Azzurro Dino is the darker shade, and that's named after Dino Ferrari. Yeah, I posted that earlier. I said I found a picture of Charles Leclerc when he was younger in a mainly blue race suit, and then I posted a picture of Dinoco, and I said Ferrari Miami.
I'm telling you, that's if it's something similar to that switch that he makes in that movie, I would love it.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a lighter shade called Azzurro La Plata, and that's the lighter, like that robin's egg blue.
Yeah.
Which I sent you those 2 pictures of like the Ferrari cars earlier.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And even the one Ferrari car has the yellow on it, and it doesn't look bad. So if they took all the red away and did blue and yellow, yeah.
That's the thing. Like blue and yellow can work, but it has to be primarily blue, and then there's like slight touchings of yellow. Like that's I feel like is the best way to definitely make it work. But just give me, like I said, give me the SF24 and just do a strict color swap of red to blue, black to white. That's what I want. That's it. And then go from there. Now, what I'm thinking about it, with the wheels then on the car, might not look as good as I'm hoping, but I think it would still look very, very good. Like...
Yeah, because like the inside of the wheel plate, I don't think obviously it's not as big as older cars. But like that one, the 1964 car is perfect. But yeah, there is more history to it, but it's a good thing to save for next week leading up to Miami.
I think that's good. So that's a big history with Owen.
Yeah, it's because there's a lot of history. Because people are like, but they're red. I'm like, yeah, but when you read the article that they have on Ferrari's website, it makes sense. But yes, did you
ever
also
think
see
about it? Like, sorry,
no, go.
Like when you think about it, like on the rare occasions where you've seen a Ferrari on the road, is it ever blue?
No, it's red or black. Like I don't think I've ever seen a different color Ferrari.
I think I've seen it like once in my life, and it was like a very dark blue, almost to the point where I thought it was black. And I was like, okay, it looks good, but something about just like a sky, just like a light sky baby blue on a Ferrari just seems so beautiful. But
and you should have known we're gonna like it because we were obsessed with the Golf livery last year, and it was that same light blue. So like, come on. No, did you see Max's special helmet for next weekend? Well, he announced it, but it's going to be for all the US GPs. So it's shades of blue, like that darker blue, he has the American flag at the bottom, like different things. Remember I said the picture, there was a picture last week, the one photographer posted and then deleted it because everyone thought he was having a special helmet for China. It's for the US GPs.
This is beautiful.
I also have some other sad news to break to you. No special helmet from Lando for Miami.
No? Wow, really?
So on Twitter today, the LN4, that like his fan club and stuff, their Twitter admin, someone said, so if Lando has a special helmet for Miami, we've had a basketball, we've had a beach ball, what do we think it's next? And they responded, said no special, just the GOAT helmet and maybe some cool stuff and then his website. So I think he's just wearing his one for this year, unfortunately.
I wouldn't call that the GOAT helmet, but all right, I understand it.
No, I don't call it the GOAT helmet either. But yeah, so no. But I expect 2 special helmets from the Ferrari boys.
I'm looking at Max's helmet right now. This is cool. I like this a lot.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I might just be on a big like blue kick right now because there's hints of blue in here and it looks fucking beautiful.
You can already pre-order like the mini one, but I think it was pretty expensive. I mean,
I would get this scale model. I would absolutely get the scale model. The 1-to-2 ratio is $191, and the 1-to-4 ratio is $85. 85 ain't bad.
Okay, last year I wanted to get you a Lando one or a small one for Christmas, and I couldn't. I was stupid, so I posted on Threads, and I was like, what's the difference between the 1-to-2 and 1-to-4? So it's literally like a half and then a quarter size. So it's the 1-to-4 is small. But I think like that picture Alex Albon posted of the helmets on a Christmas tree, I think that's kind of what the 1-to-4 size would be good for.
Okay.
But yeah, $85 is not that bad.
Not that bad.
Not that bad.
Ferrari has a very good and well opportunity to break our hearts this weekend and let us completely down. But
I mean, they've done it before, so I expect them to do it again.
Yeah, but they usually always hit with the livery of the cars. Like the liveries always look good.
Like the Vegas one, I was skeptical about, but it looked good on track. It grew on me for sure.
Yeah.
Grew on me. But I mean, if there's some blue Ferrari merch,
I might have to buy that.
As long as the sweatshirt's not $130, because that was ridiculous.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so that was her weekly news. Really, not much else. Obviously, next week we'll preview everything for Miami. I wanted to bring up something good before I think we can do this after, but
okay.
Our friends on Threads under the name of NASCAR National posted the TV rankings because there was F1, IndyCar, and NASCAR this weekend. And it's very interesting. So we can talk about it.
Oh, that's cool.
Leading up. I think it could be something that we could continue to talk about, especially like I think the weekend of Monaco, it's Monaco, Indy 500, and there's a NASCAR race.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lineup. That is a hell of a lineup.
So I think we can do that right before we can go into our race recap. But
okay. I have a quick bone to pick here.
Mm-hmm.
So Weeze and me and Ange just recently got Peacock again, and we did it because we're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But I also wanted to part of it was like, oh, IndyCar's on Peacock. I can watch it through there. I go to watch the Long Beach GP the other night, and I turn on the broadcast, and it's like, first of all, it's like 2 hours and 20-something minutes. And I'm like, why the hell is it so long? Not thinking all right, that's
the full race.
normal time of the race or whatever. And then I go in there. I had to fast forward through 30 minutes of just pre-race commentary before I got to the start of the race. I didn't even get to the start of the race because I had to go. I forget what I was doing, but I had to leave and go somewhere. And I was like, just wanted to watch this race, and I'm skipping through it. And then it's annoying because we have the Peacock plan with ads, and they and they put the ads so continuously throughout it that I'm hitting ads every single time. And I'm like, I'm not going to get to the start of this race. I'm going to go back and watch it because now that I am at the start of the race, I'm going to watch it. But I was just like, son of a bitch. I had a half an hour that I thought I could watch. Like,
You have to remember, IndyCar races are longer. They did 85 laps.
that's true. Yes, I do. Yeah. I was just like, I turned it on and then I saw this, like, you know, they
You see
open
them
up
do their
and
starting prayer. So weirdest tradition in IndyCar.
no.
Oh, they say a group. Everyone stands up when there's a group prayer before the national anthem or right after the national anthem. It's
I
very
did not
strange.
know that.
I remember hearing about it, but then when I experienced it for the first time in St. Pete, I was like, it's so American. Like, you can tell it's
Interesting.
like from
Yeah.
like the Bible Belt of America. Like, literally everyone's like bowing their head, saying a prayer. I was like, what the hell is this? Like,
All right. Interesting.
it's strange.
But no, I did not see that. I didn't see anything, which was my bone to pick. But that's besides the point. All right. We can.
No, but I highly recommend you go back because it was a great race. And they're
want to, yeah.
equivalent of Fernando Alonso, and that's like, I think, not hyping him up enough. Spoiler alert, is the one that wins, and it's
Right.
so it's a good race. I mean, IndyCar races are so good, and Long Beach was beautiful to like the scenery and stuff because it was in California,
Yeah.
like almost like I remember watching from 100 Days. They call it like the Monaco because it's a long like there's a bunch of yachts in the water.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
St. Pete was pretty. Long Beach is even prettier because it's along the water and in California. So
Yeah, I'm
I do
definitely
recommend.
going to go back and watch it. But I was just like, it was so annoyed because I had, like I said, I had like half hour, 40 minutes before I needed to go somewhere or do something, and I couldn't watch it. And then I was like, cool, I'll turn it on and start it at least. And then I like turn it on, this little clock in the corner pops up, and it's like, oh, countdown to like race start, and it's like 34 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, that's absurd, but
Yeah,
that's my rant.
okay. Red Bull in DC. Where do you want to go?
Red Bull in DC. Let's just start with, first of all,
we've said it first. It was our first ever like F1 event.
Yes.
For both of us.
Yes. It was. I don't even know like where to begin with it.
Everything and more. Owen's Owen's jaw dropped. He was.
We're just gonna take like a timeline of the day. So we go down there. It started at like, it's opened at like 1:30. We got there at like 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we get there, we go walking around, and they have, I would say probably like a mile of road blocked off.
Yeah.
For like,
I would say so.
On Pennsylvania Ave, and it was a beautiful shot because at the other end of it, you had the Constitution building, and it was just like,
no, the Capitol building.
The Capitol building. I knew that sounded wrong as soon as I said it. Yeah. Living up to my Professor Owen moniker with Constitution building. Jesus. The Capitol building, which was really cool. It was so picturesque and it looked gorgeous. It was a beautiful day out too. Like, weather was fantastic. So we get there, we go walking around, and they had off to the side was the like the fan zone or like fan fest. And in there was a couple different things. So they had the reaction timer lights like game. So it's just, big X with the 8 lights on it, and you had to, hit them and everything, get the highest score you can. Right next to that, which we all did. And we did that, which was awesome. It was for some reason I was so nervous doing that. I don't know why. I think my like competitive
you did the best
nature
out
was
of all of us.
Yeah, but I think I was just like, I don't know all these people who are standing behind me and watching, and I want to show off. So I was like, let me try to hit as many as I can. So there was that. And then right next to that was a bunch of simulators. And it was F1 23 running on a PS5, but they had the full chair set up and everything, which if you've seen our Track Fact videos, I've always talked about how I want one of those chairs. And I want like a decent simulator setup other than this big, ugly office chair that rolls when I use it. And that was so much fun to use. I can't tell you how, like, I sat down in that thing and the guy's running me through all the lists, and he's like, all right, hey, like, here's your, gas, clutch, blah, blah. You only use a clutch. You can shift if you want, here you go. And I'm in the position, like my legs are up. My knees are like, my knees are like here, just like essentially in my face. I have the wheel right here. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. I'm like, this is so cool. I do the lap. You were racing 3 times around Austria, the Red Bull Ring. which I thought was also funny that we were sitting there and we were trying to figure out what track it was.
We were so stupid. We were like, what track?
What track is it? You know, completely forgetting that Red Bull has a track literally named after them. And, yeah, and we're at a Red Bull event. So, yeah, you did 3 laps around the Red Bull ring as Max. And the game was definitely set to, like, easy mode because it was like I started, I think, in, like, 12th because it randomized your start positions. And I started in, like, 12th, and I think halfway through the first lap, maybe not even, like a quarter of the way through the first lap, I was in first, ahead of everybody. And they were
when I watched your mic'd up video, you got to the front pretty quick.
Yeah. But it was so cool. It was so much fun doing that. I had a blast. I literally was like, I want to go back and do it. And then they also had, we didn't do this just because the line was so brutally long, but they also had
was long enough.
Yeah. The pit stop challenge. So they had like a trailer, and then up on the trailer was the nose of, you know, the RB19 or RB20, whatever you want to call it. And then you could take a wheel off and throw one back on and use like the gun that the pit crew uses to put the wheel back on. And it looks like so much fun. They were timing you, giving you the gist of how to do it and whatnot. But yeah, the line was so brutally long, and we waited in the simulator line, which I think we started, and it was like 15 people were in front of us, which like is just like not a lot.
You waited a good hour, over an hour.
Yeah. We waited like an hour for the simulator. So once we had done that, I was like, I want to do it, but I was like, I'm not sacrificing 2 hours of our time to go stand in this line. And then the event started, and they brought out.
They also had RB19 on there as well.
They had the RB19. Yes.
Which I knew the cars were big. I don't think I realized the cars were that big.
Yeah, seeing an F1 car for the first time in real life and getting that gist of the scale of them and the size of them and like everything about them, I was like, holy shit. Like it's true. And I'll say this too, because when we saw one drive, we saw the RB7 turn on and drive. You do not realize how fast those things are and how loud and how just powerful those things are through the TV. It's just
it doesn't do justice.
It does not do it justice. And I mean, go ahead.
I would say I turned to you when after the first or second time the RB7 came down the street, and I said, now just imagine 20 of this year and last year's cars turning on at the same time, because the car turned on and it was just it was so
I mean, I literally was like a kid in a candy shop. Like that RB7 came down the first time and stopped right around where we were standing and did a burnout, and you could hear the engine just going, and I just started laughing. I was like, I don't know what to do here. Like, I was like, this is just so cool. Like, and I loved too, because there were 3 different open areas, like wider areas, where it was David Coulthard who was driving the car as well. I keep saying he, but not explaining who he is. There were different 3 open areas where he would drive for a little bit and then go do burnouts or something, and then or do a donut real fast and then drive down. But there were a couple times where he would just go from straight front to back, just pure speed. And hearing those cars shift too as they drive was like, it sent chills through my body. I was like, you can just like, it felt like I could picture him tapping the paddle shifters in the car, because the way you heard the machine just so aggressively shift and just pick up speed from there, I was like, oh my God. Like it was so cool. I'm so happy we went. I was so burnt when we got home. Like I got home, and I think maybe 20 minutes later was in bed, but I was just like, I am so tired, but I'm so happy that we went and we were able to experience that.
No, because Red Bull on Threads posted a picture, and I posted, they didn't respond, but I was just like, thank you for bringing something F1 to the Northeast, because there's nothing like that. Like, obviously, yes, now you have the arcade that's opening up in Boston and stuff, but like, to have something like that and free, like,
that was the best part. It was all free.
all the the things you could try. Obviously, the food you had to pay for, but like all the things you could try. They were handing
Yeah.
out free Red Bulls. That's what the blue and silver parade is. was.
The blue and silver parade.
It's my favorite video.
Story with that.
It's and there were so many people there. You realize that F1's huge, but the people that were there that were decked out in Red Bull clothing, Ferrari clothing, McLaren clothing, there was Fernando Alonso fans. Like the amount of people that were there, it really puts in it's growing. It is growing here. Its popularity is
growing.
Absolutely growing here. We on top of the RB7, we did get to see 3 other cars drive.
Yes.
So we got to see a Ford GT3 demo, which that was cool. I wish it went a little bit longer, but it was cool.
When they first went that first time and they literally just went up and back, it definitely felt like we were like, oh shit, we started a little late. Like, hey, sorry, you literally just need to go boom, boom, and then you're gonna be done for a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm. There was the Subaru rally car that was driven by Scott Speed. Now that was sick. That car
was fucking cool. Oh yeah.
And then when we went down a little bit, at the end, I don't know if there was someone in there the entire time, but there was the women's soccer star Trinity Rodman. She's on the national team, and she plays for Washington D.C.'s. I think they're Washington Spirit. She was in the car. I can't imagine being in that car because that car was whipping.
Moving.
Like it looked like the whip, like the amusement park ride, the whip. When it would go for the corners, it was just like so fast.
It was such a cool car.
Mm-hmm. And then right before the RB7 was the stunt bike demo with Aaron Colton, and that was sick too. I mean, he was standing on the seat. He was popping a wheelie. He was putting the back wheel up. He was straddling, but he wasn't even sitting on the seat. Like his legs, I was like the core strength because he was just lifted up.
Yeah, he would pop the wheelie and then just throw the legs out and just hold them up. And it was the core strength to hold the legs up like that and also drive a motorcycle up like that is nuts.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool, yeah. And then I think we stepped back because we were 12 people deep at that point. We stepped back, and all the local colleges that have it was called the Formula SAE program or SAE parade, and it's all the local colleges like University of Maryland was there, VCU. It's the programs they have within their school where they literally went out with little race cars, almost rally cars, but 2 of the schools they had side stuff on it with a rear wing, and they got to go up and down once or twice and stuff, which I thought that was cool to show you can go to school for this and then probably work in the motorsport world at some point back at the factory as a pit stop. That was
I wouldn't be shocked if part of their thing with going to that was meeting with some Red Bull people and having it be a little bit of a networking event. I would not be shocked at all with that.
Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, so that it was the coolest thing. I also saw that the RB19 was at the RB19's been traveling all over the US. It was at the grand opening for the arcade in Boston because our friend Adam from F1 Fantasy posted a picture with the RB7 because he went to the grand opening. So that was also just seeing the car. Obviously, I got to see Indy cars on track, but I'm an F1 fan first and foremost. So to see that was just mind blowing.
That's what I was going to say. Exactly what you said. Yes, you are an F1 fan, but you have been very lucky to go to IndyCar and see at least some form of motorsport in person. So it was the fact that you had seen that, and then now I've also seen F1 stuff in person too. It's got to be so cool. But that just being the first time that I've seen any of this stuff in person after being a pretty solid fan for a year now was just I couldn't tell you just how excited I was and just you heard me we walked up to the RB19 and then that's when I saw the pit stop, and then that's when I saw the reaction game, and that's when I saw the simulators, and I was like, there's so much to do. I was like, this is awesome.
But I should have filmed you the first time the RB7 came down to get your reaction, because when I tried to look at you, you literally were like,
It was so cool. So wait, so I wanted to tell the story about this too. So like you said, we saw that the couple cars and the motorcycle beforehand, right? So it went the GT3, then the Subaru rally car, then the motorcycle. And after the motorcycle went, you and I were both looking at each other because we were like, there's a little bit of a break. Like, there's not much going on. I'm like, they have to be making an announcement.
And
like,
the AV sound system was like so bad. That might be the only downfall. It was so bad.
It was so bad. Whoever wired it, it was just not the system they had was not powerful enough to transmit the voice across all the speakers and the distance that they had. But we're sitting there, and we're like, there's going to be an announcement that the RB7's coming. Like, there's no way that there's not. Like, they're just not going to randomly throw it. Because part of this also, too, is I'm taking the videos and I'm reaching over, like, 30 people and all of their phones to record the videos. So I'm like, they have to say when it's coming. Because if I'm just going to throw my phone up there when I hear it coming, I might miss it. And all of a sudden, you just heard the engine kick on, and it just came flying down. And you
everyone went like this.
Oh, shit. And lost our phones up there. It was so loud, but it was so, again, the fact that I just, like, all I did was just laugh. And I was just like, I was like,
I think because it was like, it was so surreal. Like I said, we've been watching it for a good, maybe 2 years now on TV. Like, just the fact that we could see something like that in person. Because like I said, I told that person on Threads, we're not going to a race anytime soon. Like, that was our that was our only chance probably this season to see something F1 related like that in person. So just to see it was just like unreal. Yeah, it was unreal.
I will say this. If I had so much fun, if they did it again next year and they literally put in their like marketing materials, they were like, hey, this is going to be a copy-paste event from last year, I would still go again.
Oh, I would still go.
Absolutely still go again.
And Red Bull, this is an official pitch. I will clip this and post it.
Good.
Philadelphia.
Yes.
The perfect spot for a show run. You can have that entire fan zone thing on Elkins Oval, that little, not little, on that
such a good spot
concrete spot. Art Museum backdrop.
Yep. City Hall on the other side.
City Hall. It could even go down and around the Art Museum and then go back straight up.
Oh my God, it'd be so good.
So Red Bull, Philadelphia.
I would not be shocked if it does expand to maybe some more cities next year or in a couple of years. Because like we said, the amount of people that were there and the amount of people that even were there just for different teams. Now, obviously, if you're a Red Bull, if you're not a Red Bull fan and this is coming to you and you live like 20 minutes away, but you're an F1 fan, you're probably going to go. I mean, I was wearing my McLaren hat, so there was no shortage of like other team apparel there. But with the way that the sport is growing, like you definitely got the sense of like, oh, this is a thing now in the US. Like it's gotten to this point now where this is a very good crowd pull in terms of attendance that Red Bull got for this event. I
mean, on either side of the track, probably the entire mile, if it wasn't a full mile, was maybe 20 rows deep. Like it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then there was bleachers in some spot. Like there was thousands of people there. But no, I mean, I said it that day. I said I wish other teams could do it, but Red Bull is such a huge brand. Like Ferrari's a huge brand, but Red Bull is Red Bull. They have like if Ferrari could do it, that'd be sick. I think they probably could, but like Red Bull's done this before, they're used to it. Like they did it in Nashville last year. It's just the fact that they do these things in different cities that people in America can get the F1 races as easily as people in Europe most of the time. So it was just cool. It's good fan outreach on them. No, it was sick. It was so cool to experience. I'm happy we went.
It definitely does buy into the whole Red Bull marketing scheme in general, which is just like, we're just going to block this street off and we're going to do some really cool shit for people to see. And that's that. And like that, I mean, like if you want a summarization of the event, it's just like we blocked off Pennsylvania Ave in Washington, D.C., and we drove on it with some really cool and really fast cars. That's what it was. But it was so much fun. And I think Ferrari could do it. You would definitely get less of an attendance.
No, I don't
think
even know
is
if you
Red
would get
Bull, 'cause
less
you're-
in attendance, but I don't know. I don't know if they could do it every year like Red Bull does it every year. And they might even do it multiple
Yeah, that's
times a year
true.
with Red Bull. But I just think, I feel like Ferrari and McLaren, they might be able to make it happen. But Red Bull is just Red Bull. They have, like
Yeah.
you said, there are so many extreme sports and all these things. They can pull other things into it, like the bike demo and stuff. It's perfect. It's literally a perfect marketing and like outreach investment for them. But yeah, Red Bull, thanks for the time.
Good work. Good work, Red Bull. I definitely, please bring it to Philly. That would be so cool. And you're
It's
right.
so cool.
Eakins Oval would be such a cool spot to have it go down.
Like you could
it would
easily
just
have
be-
the pit stop challenge, the Sims there, I mean,
Yeah.
that's when you really think about it. And then it was like food trucks they had for food. Philly has plenty of food
Yep.
trucks so you can pull up and
plenty.
park there. Like it's easily. So maybe the car doesn't go around Aikens Oval, but still, if you could have
But
like
even if
that
you
stretch from Aikens Oval all the way to City Hall.
you block off the inner drive of the Parkway.
Mhm.
You're not you would probably have to actually if you block off all the drives, but you block off that inner drive for the area where the cars are driving from Eakins Oval to City Hall. It's definitely shorter than what we had in DC, but
I don't know.
it'd still be a good.
It's
Should
not
be
that they
good
don't do it all the
sign.
time.
Like-
I mean, they have races and
Yeah.
stuff all the time in the city, so they could
That's where the
shut it down.
marathon starts. Like
Mhm.
is right there. You know, it's
Yeah.
definitely. Please bring it to Philly. That would be so cool.
It'd be sick.
If you need a local Philadelphia podcast that talks about F1 to help you with it, we are here.
We are here.
We are waiting.
We will work for free. Maybe not, but we will.
I'll work for a goddamn case of Red Bull. That's what I'll fire for. I don't even drink Red Bull, and I would work
You
for that.
would, Ben.
Yeah, I would absolutely. Every day you'd see me on the. I just hold it the entire time right here.
Could have one of those sick fridges in the background.
Yes. Oh. But but going from DC
China.
to China.
First,
Shanghai.
before we do the ratings, so like I said, this is from our friends at NASCAR National over on Threads. They're a great follow. They're very interactive. I do like talking to them and stuff. So US TV put out the ratings for all three of the biggest races like last week, and they're very, very, very interesting. So I think the only thing hindering F1 is the time. Because it was
That
3 a.m.
makes sense.
That's
Yeah.
why I think it'll be interesting to look back when it's Monaco, because it's Monaco, Indy 500, and a NASCAR race that weekend. So F1 in China had 626,000 viewers at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN, which that's cable.
Okay.
So they have listed like where you can watch cable, because this is where NASCAR pulled away.
Yeah.
IndyCar Long Beach was at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on USA Network. And it went head to head with NASCAR at the very same time. 307,000 viewers.
For IndyCar?
It's so low.
Wow.
Because are you
Wow,
ready?
Yeah, that is low.
So NASCAR.
NASCAR's gonna be like $2.5 million.
Okay, that's your guess. NASCAR Talladega. Is that how you say it? Yeah, Talladega. Was also at 3 p.m. But like I can say I watched IndyCar. It ended and I was able to go over to NASCAR. I don't know if I've ever actually watched a NASCAR race. And I got to see the ending. And it was so I was able to watch both. But okay. I also NASCAR and Indy US. Like that's but okay. 3 p.m.
Oh no.
on Fox. So it's network.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's
4.3 million viewers.
holy shit.
I think IndyCar putting it on USA Network when in years past has been on NBC Sports Network or NBC hurt themselves.
Oh yeah. I would love to look at the numbers from when did that move happen? Was that last year?
Yeah, it's if you
this year,
he has they have tweets that are under the post from another user. Yeah, it says no direct comparison because last year was on NBC, but that race got 1.026 million compared to the previous Long Beach GPs aired on cable network. This is about a 30% decrease in viewers from the last one in 2019. So 2019 was on. So 2019, 18, 17 were all on NBC Sports Network. and they range from 300 to over 430,000 viewers. Literally 2024 is the lowest number. 2017 there was 327. 2024 there was 307,000 viewers.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
So they literally, that says no direct comparison because last year it was on NBC.
Yeah.
So more than half didn't watch or didn't view, but it also went up against NASCAR.
NASCAR is just, you know what, I'll say this, it's like, I don't know if this is going to be like stereotypical of me, but it's just like, because there's so many goddamn people in Texas, that I feel like that's where like NASCAR is like the most popular. And again,
well, it is like the South. I was going back and forth talking with the NASCAR national people, and they posted, they were saying like IndyCar is like the Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
NASCAR is the South.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
But the tweet, another screenshot they have, these are from an Adam Stern over on Twitter. So he put, so obviously China was at 3 a.m. So it was easily on ESPN. So it said ESPN got 626,000 viewers for F1's Chinese Grand Prix that are at 3 a.m. on Sunday, up 133% from the 268,000 the last time the race ran in 2019. But that event was on ESPN too. And that was also 2019. We had one season to Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
Versus 6 seasons of Drive to Survive.
6, yeah. That is, yeah, I mean, the timing there certainly does not help F1.
That's what,
but, I mean, that's
like, even I think this upcoming next weekend, there's no IndyCar because IndyCar's this weekend.
Right.
There's an IndyCar race this weekend, and there's also NASCAR's in Dover. So those will go head to head again. But like Miami will pull good numbers because it's Miami. It's a decent time.
Yeah.
And that's easily going to be on ABC as ESPN.
Yeah, I would be very interested in seeing. Oh yeah, I'm seeing commercials all over ESPN now for it. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what the number is for Miami this weekend, especially with it being at a solid time for all these new fans and everything that have come in. But
because I think Coda pulls good numbers, and that's during football season, so that's saying something.
Yeah.
So, I said, it will be interesting to see Monaco Indy 500, and I think they said Charlotte is NASCAR that weekend. That will be interesting to see the numbers.
Okay, all right.
That will be just a whole day of motorsport. You could just sit on the couch and knock it up. Because you could go from Monaco, so that'll be early in the morning.
It's like
into the Indy 500. And that'll be the entire day because it's 500 laps. And then...
Yeah. Oh my God.
Which I might have to watch. I know it's an oval, but it's still... Like, now that being interested in IndyCar and stuff, I definitely going to have to watch. But, yeah, I thought those were interesting. The ratings. Definitely something I feel like to keep an eye on. The growing popularity. But, yes. China. Maybe on to China.
China.
Where do we begin?
Start. Let's do the. All right. Let's
do sprint.
Let's do the sprint. I don't remember much just because of all the shit that went down.
Let's just do SQ3 because that was the craziest 8 minutes of my entire life.
Yeah, that was wild. You
didn't get up to watch it.
Did not get up to watch it. I watched the highlights. Because I did that both for qualifying and sprint qualifying, actually.
All I texted you was Lando, and you said, I haven't watched. I will watch. I said, you can just watch SQ3 because it was the craziest 8 minutes. Because the rain came.
Yes. Sorry, I'm like trying to remember it just from this weekend and everything, too. But, yeah, the rain definitely played a factor into it. And, I mean, the fact that Lando got what? Lando was pole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the fact
Hamilton
that Lando
was
pole,
P2.
Yeah, because I remember I was on Twitter and somebody posted the screenshot from F1 where they do the 1, 2, 3 at the end of the broadcast and it's their faces. And somebody posted and they were like, "What the hell did I miss in sprint qualifying?"
Is it Alonso?
Yes, I think it's Lando, Lewis, and Alonso. And I answered and I said essentially that the too long didn't read of it is just cars wet roads, cars are slippery. Like, that's pretty much what it was. A lot of the cars were struggling. Everybody was kind of really not figuring it out. And then I don't want to say this. I want to like just be like, you know what, he's that good of a driver, but I don't think it was that. I think it was a little bit of luck that Lando got.
Well, there was also
Lando got pole.
That last corner got everyone with that gravel trap right there because Lando had his lap time deleted. There was this whole thing. Lando had his lap time deleted.
Oh, weird.
And then it was the second lap that was technically the fastest, so that's why they reinstated it. But for a while, for like 3 minutes, Hamilton was on pole.
Yeah.
And then they reinstated Lando's lap. But when I tell you, listening to the F1 TV broadcast, they were like, it literally started from like Piastri. They're like, oh, Piastri's on provisional pole. Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, Verstappen, Alonso, Hamilton. It was just like boom, boom, because they were just one after another, after another, after another. They just kept crossing the line and going a little bit faster. But yeah, it was I think I was watching it from my bed. Yes, I was watching it from bed. And when they said the rain, I was like laying like this with my computer, and then when they're like the rain's coming in and all the last lap started, I was like sat up and I was like, okay, I'm awake now.
It was it was so much fun watching it because the highlights watching it on YouTube are funny because it's like normally they'll cut to like different moments when people get like the pole position and everything, especially in SQ3, and like you said, it's literally just one long clip.
It's not even edited. Yeah,
coming in one in after the other and just, you know, taking the pole position from each other. It was a really good qualifying, but the sprint was kind of just, you know, back to your normalcy, you know.
I mean, well, it started off good. Well, not for you. It didn't start off for the Lando Norris fans because
Lando dropped back down to fucking 7th.
He messed up that first or second turn so bad, went wide, dropped down to P7, and then didn't recover after that. Hamilton was in first for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was by lap 9, Max was up to the front and then still won the race with like an 11-second gap. It was like disgusting. But I mean, quali was the only time there was rain that entire weekend. So the SQ3 didn't really rain any other time. But yeah, the start was good. It definitely had, well, at the end, it was boring until the end, until Fernando Alonso was leading that DRS train for so long.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's right.
Messed it up, and then that's when him and Carlos were going wheel to wheel for a very long time. And then Carlos fell back, and then that's when Carlos almost took himself and Charles Leclerc off the track.
Yep.
I was fuming. And then, yeah, Charles comes over the radio and was like, what the hell is he doing? He's racing us harder than he is other people. Like,
yeah.
Like, the ending. I mean, I kind of blame Fernando Alonso for that at that point. For all of that. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Well, Perez was smart. Perez might have been the driver of the day for that sprint race because he was staying back. He was nice and calm. I can't even forget this. He was just nice and patient because he was behind. I think he was behind Carlos and Alonso. He was just waiting.
Yes, he was.
He was just waiting. And then Alonso made that move. And Perez, people were like, it was that own, like, through goes Hamilton because Perez just did a double overtake on both of them and easily moved up. It was he was good for making that move, for laying low. But yeah, that was sprint. I don't really think there was that much. I don't think any of the penalties were from the sprint, were they? No. Because there's a lot of penalties.
I don't think so. Sorry, I'm like just with everything and like the race being like everything that happened during the race, I'm like struggling to remember the sprint race right now. But
because we had the sprint race and then we were in DC that entire Saturday. So like there was a lot that happened this weekend. But yes, then moving on to the real race, the amount of emotions Lewis Hamilton had to go through on Saturday, I hope he talked to someone because he went from P2 in the sprint to being out very early in qualifying.
Q1 in Q1 in qualifying, he was
Yeah,
out.
he was
I was
out.
like in shock.
He was
it just-
18th. He started P18.
Yeah. But I will say this, though. He went from P18 to P8.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he honestly, I know it went to Lando. I'm happy that it went to Lando, the driver of the day. I was going to say either
he had a decent amount of percentage, Lewis.
Yeah, I think he was winning until somebody said, one of the commentators, might have been Crofty, said something like, I think Lando is my driver of the day today. Like, he's just had such a solid race, like all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, I think the vote switched. But Lewis and Joe were my two drivers of the day, because that's the thing. Lewis went from, I'm in the back of the pack having a shitty Q1 to now scoring at 3 points for my team. Like, yes, okay, it's 3 points for Mercedes, but right now, Mercedes needs all the points they can get in just trying to close the gap to McLaren. So, Lewis did his job. Lewis, I think, had a really good race, but yeah, the fact that he was out in Q1 was a little shocking.
He finished P9.
P9.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, still, like, all right, you got 2 points then. Like,
yeah.
Okay, yes, it's 2 points, but again, that's 2 points that, who knows? McLaren's bringing upgrades to Miami. If, God forbid, it all goes wrong, you could be in Abu Dhabi fighting for that, that third place again.
Oscar only got 4. Like, it's not like not like both McLarens finished up high. I mean, I will say, I think Toto Wolff is going through a breakup, and he's in the angry stage or the denial stage. The quotes I've seen from him and the way he's throwing Lewis Hamilton under the bus is, like, Drive to Survive is eating it up.
I saw the one quote, but like very briefly, what was it?
They were talking about the car setup at one point, and he said, like, well, first of all, he referred to him as Hamilton. I think I've always heard him refer to Lewis as Lewis. So that was a little weird. And then he basically said, like, Lewis did a good job, but Lewis is also making these recommendations that's not working with the car. We're like, your driver is the one that had a good weekend overall. Like, it's not like...
Yeah,
he's going through a breakup. A bad breakup. And Lewis doesn't care.
Lewis, as he shouldn't. You know what?
Lewis said, see ya, we go to Ferrari. Yeah. Can we end with Joe?
We can end with Joe. You know what? Let's go into this, because I want to get this rant out of the way that I have.
On who? McLaren?
No, not on McLaren. McLaren had a good weekend. I will say that.
Wait, before we go, I like how we have no notes for Alpine, because there's just Alpine.
So, all right, so let's...
What's your rant?
Wait, hold on. We're going to knock like 3 teams out real fast right here, all right?
Okay.
Alpine, you did nothing. You were Alpine this weekend.
They had their best weekend. They finished 11th and 13th. No points.
They're still not scoring points. So,
I mean, Gasly still has 0 points.
You want to know what I saw that was fucking hilarious?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody posted a thing, and it said, in F1 and in F1 esports, both Alpine teams have 0 points right now. I just thought it was hilarious.
Not Academy, though, because they have a killer driver in Academy.
Not Academy. No. Not Academy. But Alpine, you did nothing. Williams, solid race.
Mm-hmm.
You got through it. The only thing that kind of sucked about it, and it's just because it is who it is, Logan Sargent had a 10-second time penalty for a safety car infringement. So it's like, okay, he survived. He made it through a race. Okay. But...
Wait, pause. Alpine, they got fined £10,000 because of the unsafe release in the pit stop. Did you see this?
Yes, we can talk about Alpine real fast. They almost killed one of their engineers.
Oh my God, it was scary. I mean, Pierre pulled away and was like, "Is he okay?" And you watched you watched the slow motion. He pulls away Pierre with the tire not on, and the tire literally bounces up and almost knocks him out. Yeah,
and there's a clip from behind the car too, but it's a better shot of the pit crew member getting up and like walking away, and he is rattled. Like he definitely was like, oh my God, I'm getting like run over right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
the fact that happened. Yeah. 10,000 pounds. I actually didn't see that. I knew that they were getting looked at, but I didn't see like what the conclusion was for it.
10,000 or euros, not pounds, euros.
But yeah, Williams, again, you looked good. Logan got through a race. Cool. Good work. Like
chassis stayed in place.
yeah, the chassis stayed in place. Good work. Now you're going into the weekend where you have a backup car. So
Logan's home race.
Yeah, and Logan's home race. So Haas, again, not really much of a standout, I don't think. I don't think they had a lot of penalties.
No.
They didn't have any penalties or anything.
No, Nico Hülkenberg got 1 point, and Nico Hülkenberg was in front of both Ferraris at the start.
He was in front of both Ferraris at the start.
Literally, Tasia was sleeping right here, and I said, Ferrari. I said, Ferrari, what the fuck are you doing? Because I was
so much more from this race than I thought.
Haas, but there's not a lot. Like, we can go through these quick. Haas, I will say this time and time again, like a sleeper agent. They're just sneakily consistent.
Yeah.
Ayo Komatsu is killing it over there. Whatever he's doing, they're listening. It's working. I'm here for it. But go ahead.
They're better. They're a better team than Alpine right now.
Alpine, Williams, Haas.
Alpine, Williams, Haas. Sauber on the Valtteri Bottas end. Sucks. You got out. Okay. Your pit stops were still really slow, although they were quicker than what they've been. And Crofty after made a joke about that. But
wait, did you see the slow-mo video of Red Bull's pit stop? The one really
I did,
fast one?
and Bottas in the background staring at it. Yes, that was gonna be my meme of the week. Well, that was gonna be my meme. Was Bottas in the background just staring at it? But yeah. I mean, again, on the Bottas end, you did good. All right, sure. Like,
I mean, he was consistent. That he was into Q3 for both, I think. Yeah. But when I tell you when they were like, "Oh, that Ferrari powered engine," I was like, "Jesus Christ, here we go."
Here we go. Yeah, it's beginning.
It's beginning.
I think that's everybody, because then I can get into my rant with these two teams.
Well, Mercedes, we already kind of talked about. Do you have anything else to add about Mercedes? George Russell was like okay, but not like.
No, George did fine. He was what did he finish? 6th.
Yes.
6? Yeah. Okay. You made up a little bit of ground on McLaren, but McLaren scored more points on you this weekend than you did on them. So like you didn't really.
They're almost 50 points. Like McLaren has 96, Mercedes has 52. So.
Yeah, you're not. That battle's slowly slipping away from them. The worry comes from this weekend if McLaren somehow botches these upgrades that they're bringing to the car.
Yeah,
but
that double DNF weekend in Australia for Mercedes did not help.
No, God no.
But go ahead.
Let's get into the meat of this. Lance Stroll and Daniel Ricciardo. Here's my thing. Have you watched the video of Lance? I'm assuming you have.
Yeah, and I've watched Daniel's interview with Canal Plus, which I think he had every right to be angry.
Right. So Daniel, I think, has every right to be angry. And I was telling Ange about this because I told her earlier, I was like, oh, there's beef in the F1 world. And she was like, why? What happened? I explained the whole situation to her. I said, I'm fine. I'm fine saying that there is blame on both sides. Right? Like, I'm sure it was a combination of tons of different things happening. And sure, Lance ran into the back of him. But then, you also had the Constantina effect of everybody bunching up and everybody was really close together.
Well, sorry. This was after the restart, after the Valtteri Bottas.
This was the first safety car. Yes.
Yes. Which they should have called the safety car much quicker. But that's besides the point. Took forever.
My issue that I have with it, and it's not even about like anything driving, it's more so his character. Lance Stroll being unwilling to just be like, hey, you know what? Like, I messed up. Like, besides the point of anything that happened, you drove into the back of him. Like, you hit him. And him being unwilling to be like, that's on me, that's my bad. You know what? Like, I'm sorry on the part that I played with this. Just like really irked me the wrong way. And the fact that he was like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. That idiot brake checked me and is like, what?
When that Canal Plus tells Daniel Ricciardo, he goes, okay, I wasn't pissed off, but now I am.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never seen Daniel Ricciardo that well. That's because people were saying that he said like "F that guy" and stuff. That's why I've watched it so many times. When did he say it? He doesn't say it in the Canal Plus interview.
No, it was a different interview because somebody asks him like, I think it was after that interview because I'm pretty sure the reporter's like, do you know that he's saying it's your fault and everything? And Daniel's pretty much like, and this is heavily paraphrased. Daniel was pretty much like, yes, I've heard that he's calling me an idiot. Like, I've heard that he said it's my fault. I'm going to keep this as nice as possible. And he was just like, fuck that guy. And that's me being nice. Like, Daniel was pissed about it. And I think he's rightfully pissed because you can clearly see in the video, Lance's head, the cars are approaching the corner, and Lance's head is like this. And is looking at the corner, like
Daniel in the interview with Canal Plus is like, I've seen his onboards. He's not even looking at me. His head is turned, and then he just goes in. I think if Lance took not all the blame, but I think if he said like, this I'm at fault for most of this, it would be totally different. There's the fact that he's saying no.
Yeah, like no, that's not me. And I did see something, and I will give Lance this benefit of the doubt too. Like, I did see something where it was like the radio when it comes across and it says like this idiot just like brake checked me. People are saying like, oh, maybe he's saying like these idiots, like just saying everybody that's on their brakes really fast. Yeah, because everybody's bunched up. But again, it's not the actual incident that bothers me. It's Lance's unwillingness to be like, hey, my bad. Like, I'm sorry. Again, I'm sorry for the part that I played in that. Boom. Like, I did. I thought that was a fucking hilarious response from Oscar. Saying,
like, well, no one else crashed.
Yeah. Nobody else slammed into each other. Like,
yeah. I want to say something. It's because there was a lot of things on social media, like attacking Lance Stroll fans, which is literally uncalled for. Like, come on, people.
Fans.
Yeah. So I put something on. There were some names being called about Lance and all this stuff. I don't want to say it, but it's just like, that's not the point. Like, why are you going after the fans? Like, they're not. Yeah. They weren't in his ear being like, don't take any of the blame. Like, come on, just be respectful. It doesn't have to. When it crosses that line is when you'll be blocked. But yeah, no, it's he just took. I think if he just took fault, the situation would not have blown up to what it's blown up.
Yes, it would have gone so much smoother. Of just like, again, like it's just his inability just to be like sorry. It's just like literally it's like I want to look at him and just be like, why can't you just say like sorry? Yes. Like
I posted after like it calmed down. I said in the battle of Daniel Ricciardo and Lance Stroll, where does Scotty James lie? Scotty James, Daniel Ricciardo's BFF, but is also married to Lance Stroll's sister.
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
I don't know, like where you go. I feel bad for you, Scotty James, but
Scotty James just got to sit in his house for a little bit and hide away from both of them.
Like Daniel Ricciardo was in his wedding. Like, where do you go from there?
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. And you have Oscar saying that thing about, like, all right, well, not all of us crashed. Like, all of us were in that effect and all of us were under braking and everything, and not all of us crashed. And it's like, okay, it's just really irks me just on like a personal level of just like his inability just to kind of just be like, yes. Like,
just take some of the blame. Just like
I played a part in that. But you know what? Everybody was under braking, and it was just an unfortunate, circumstance.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go. You're good. Like
it would not have blown up to this being this whole big media thing, and F1's putting both of them in the media in the press conference for Miami, so you know he's going to be asked about again. Oh yeah, here's Oscar's quote. He was asked, it says, yes, but everyone didn't crash into each other.
Yeah, like it's very clear that Lance, I would say, is at least like 70% to blame for this, I would say. Mm-hmm. And he's just not doing it. He's not.
I mean, he lifted Daniel Ricciardo's the rear of his car into the air.
It was a heavy crash. Yeah, like it was. He got up there, and the back of that car, the back of the Red Bull or the Racing Bull, slammed down onto the ground. I mean, like it was.
Daniel Ricciardo was having a good weekend. He was outperforming his teammates. That man needs a good weekend.
That literally was like, that honestly is definitely part of the reason why Daniel's so pissed off is because he knew kind of probably in the back of his head, he was like, okay, I've made it this far. I can get to the end and have a solid weekend. And then that happened. And it's something that he's probably thinking like, of course this would happen to me. This is my luck. And it's something that I can't control. And then if Lance is coming out and saying like, oh, hey, that was completely in your control and you caused that to happen, that's just making everything worse for Daniel. So, yeah, it's definitely – I just didn't like it. Again, I know I've been saying that a lot. I sound like a broken record, but it really does just bother me that it was
handled a lot better.
Yes.
And also, not to go into the other Visa Cash App Racing Bull card, can't literally tell you what happened to Yuki, but his tire was just off. Because I forgot it was a double DNF weekend for V cars.
Yes, I remember seeing this too. He made contact with somebody. I want to say it was Fernando Alonso that they tapped wheels at some point.
Oh, okay.
It also could have been Lance Stroll. I'm 95% sure it was an Aston Martin, but he made contact with somebody's wheel. They went wheel to wheel, and there was contact. And I remember actually. It was a Haas. Somebody, I think it was Magnussen. They made contact wheel to wheel, and then Yuki says, I have a puncture, like I'm coming in. Mm-hmm. And then, because I remember Crofty being like, it's amazing that Magnussen like doesn't have a puncture or something too. Like he was like, wow, like I'm amazed that it's not damaged.
He's 22, right? Yeah, Yuki's 22. K-Mag got a penalty. K-Mag got 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points for colliding with Yuki at turn 6. Yeah.
Yeah, not a good weekend for the Racing Bulls in general, but it does suck because it's like the whole Daniel Ricciardo situation is just completely out of his control. I mean, it's so out of his control. Like he was doing everything that he normally does under a safety car, and you just get rocked like that, and it's nothing you can do. So upsetting, but. I hope it's just not held against Daniel Ricciardo. Like, I was happy to say, like, when I was on Twitter afterwards, I wasn't seeing a lot of, like, get rid of Daniel Ricciardo, blah, blah, like, all this stuff.
It wasn't his mistake. Like, it wasn't him just spinning a corner and going into the wall. Like, it was...
Yeah.
It was a racing incident, but, yeah. What do you want to do next? Ferrari or McLaren?
Let's go to McLaren.
Surprise week.
Because I can go on for hours about them too, but
I can go on for hours about the Ferrari situation. So good,
perfect. Well, then we'll take the one that I think will go a little bit shorter first. So, I mean, surprise of the weekend. I mean, I was so happy watching them, and I mean, Lando got driver of the day, and I think it was rightfully deserved because he just had such a stellar race. And the one thing that I thought was just hilarious was when he finishes the race, he gets on the radio and he's like, hey, it was a great day today, guys. He's like, don't know how, but it was. Like, I think he was like, I don't know how. But, I mean, it's huge. I mean, that's the thing. Like, as a McLaren fan, you take those and you walk away with it. And you're like, we just stole 20 points, for second place there. Like,
18.
18. All right. There's an 18 points that you didn't think you were gonna have. Like, and it's okay, cool. You walk away and you like kind of breathe a little bit because you're like, all right, we made it through the weekend that we thought we weren't gonna be good at, and then
no one did.
We weren't. And that's the thing. Like, I went into the race, and when Lando was in second for a while, and when he first got there, I was like, that's it. Like, there's no way that we can hold this position. Like, it's fine. And then when the safety car happens, and it's the virtual safety car, and Lando misses the pit lane.
Yeah.
Because he literally took that final corner, and the virtual safety car came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, now he's got to do a whole goddamn lap and go back around. And
the virtual safety car was out for so damn long, it worked out.
I know. And I was like, I like breathed this like a huge sigh of relief when that happened. And I was just like watching Lando's dot just go around the map. And I was like, come on. I was like, get there. Yeah. But I thought that was going to be the moment where it like screwed us up, like screwed McLaren up. But he made it, and he got the benefit of pitting under the virtual safety car and everything. And yeah, when I mean, seriously, like I think there was maybe 3 laps left, and I was still in my mind. I was like, Checo's going to catch us. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that he's not, but I'm watching the interval throughout the entire race, and it's, he's staying somewhere around like anywhere between like 4.5 to 5.5 seconds behind Lando. And I'm like, he's not catching us. Like, I was like, that is insane. And then Lando, like, again, it's 18 points that I'm like thrilled to take, and Oscar getting 8th, I think it was, something like that. Like,
yeah,
you like, sure, you get 4 points or whatever for 8th. Like, okay, like, I'm sure Oscar wanted to do better, but as a
Oscar
team,
definitely has things he can work on. He kind of flew under the radar this weekend. He wasn't very noticeable. But there's definitely things Oscar can work on in regards to like race pace and the tire management and stuff. But he's in his second year in F1. Like,
he's doing, and this was his first time driving this track. Like,
yeah, so like he did better than probably anyone would have expected him to do. But yeah, no, it was surprising to see. Yeah, I don't know what Lando does though when he's in pole position. To have him, I don't know. He must be he must be so in his head, and I feel so bad for him because he just loses it every time he has a shot. But I also think it's funny, like when he was in the lead for a little bit because Max pitted. It's not like we have a brand new race leader because they know Max is getting back to the front. Like,
oh, they know, yeah, they know for a fact. Something about his reaction time when he's in pole starting the race is like a half second slower than what it normally is. And I know that's a major exaggeration, but still, like, well,
no, literally they put the reaction times up for the sprint race between him and Hamilton. And I think Hamilton was like 2.8 and he was 2.9. He literally was a 10 slow. Like, he'll get it. That win's coming. I mean, it's coming.
It's on its way.
It might be the most anticipated win, but it's coming. It has to be coming.
He's definitely shown the skills and the progression necessary that he could get it this year or next year.
I saw when it started raining during SQ3 and people were like, oh no, it's raining. I was like, this is when Lando thrives. I was like, Lando is good in the wet. Like, he's going to be fine. And he was. But yeah, McLaren. Ferrari. I could go off, but I'll really seem like a hater, and I won't. I will say,
what has that stopped you in the past?
I think some people agree with me. This was not a good weekend showing Carlos Sainz to other teams that he can be a good teammate.
That's a good way to put it. That's a very good way to put it, actually. Yeah.
Because
not the best marketable weekend for Carlos
Sainz. When you already have one door shut with Fernando Alonso taking the Aston Martin seat, that door for Red Bull is shutting faster and faster because Checo is staying. There's no way Checo's leaving. You have Mercedes, and that's it. So, like, just the way I will agree with people. I think he races, and I mean, Charles literally said it. He races harder against his teammate than he does against other people on the grid. I mean, he almost risked everything and took them both out in that sprint race. If you look at the picture, you might be able to fit a paper between their wheels. Yeah. I mean, that was the meme. People were like, I'm this close to losing it, and it was that close. When I tell you, though, when that happened, I was up. I was standing. I was literally 2 feet from my TV because I was like, I had the blanket wrapped around me. I was like, come on. I was like, please. And then even the race start on Saturday or on Sunday wasn't the best because, I mean, you can look at his onboard; it's out there. Like you can look. They're both because they started right. Charles started right in front of him.
They're close to each other.
Yeah, you can see Carlos does look a little to the one way, and then looks like he goes right towards Charles, which they both fall back. Hülkenberg and Russell stay in front. Doesn't last for long. They are able to get past Hülkenberg. They are able to get past George. But, I mean, Charles even said that the hard tires were awful. I mean, he kept his radio, he kept asking the garage or the pit if something was wrong with the floor because he felt that slow.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
He kept asking because he thought there was something wrong. They were that slow. I mean, he said the medium tires were better. They should have just went back on the mediums. He might be in love with those medium tires because that was his one stop in Japan as well.
I mean, hey, if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
Like,
I mean, they're not bringing upgrades for Miami, so hopefully. And last year, Miami for Charles was not good. He kept spinning out on that one corner. But he was driving that car last year to the limit. But they are bringing upgrades to Imola, so hopefully the upgrades in Imola work because this was the first weekend they did not have the pace with Red Bull. I will say they did not have it.
Yeah,
and
they were definitely struggling this weekend.
Yeah. This was the first race besides Jeddah that Carlos was not on the podium, and I mean rightfully so. They were fighting. I mean, I want them to fight, but not in that way when you're going to risk taking you both out.
No, well, this is the perfect example, and you definitely want sometimes your drivers to fight and race against each other because who knows, it could end up being something really good for the team in general. But there is a very thin line between I'm racing you because you are I'm racing you with respect, essentially. Like I want to get ahead of you, but I'll treat you with respect versus I just want to get ahead of you. I don't give a shit who you are. You know, and it felt more to that end this weekend with Charles and Carlos.
It felt like Monza when they show that the scene of them eating lunch and Drive to Survive, and Fred's like, we can't do this anymore. Like that's what the fighting felt like. I mean, I was just going to say something. I totally lost my train of thought. I can't remember.
Did you kind of answered my question already? But did Charles have a slow start? He looked really slow getting off the line.
He did look very slow. I haven't looked at his reaction time, but he did look very slow. It wasn't a good start for him.
The first thing I noticed when I was watching the race, like I literally the lights went out and I immediately my eyes snapped. And I think it was definitely because Carlos was able to catch up to him really fast. I think I may have noticed that, but I was like, oh, that did not look like a good start for Charles.
No, I don't think it was a good start for him. I definitely think he has the quality thing under control, but like we said, that car was not performing to its standards this weekend. I mean, Carlos wasn't dropping times that he's been dropping the past few weeks either. So there was also tension there because after after the sprint race during press, they're like, well, have you talked? And Charles is like, yeah, we will. They both said yeah, you will. But then the next day they're like, well, have you talked? And Charles like, yeah, we have. Carlos was like, no, we haven't. So who's lying, boys? Who is lying? I feel so bad for Sylvia because they did not make her job easy this weekend. Her PR
Of course they didn't.
But yeah, like I said, I don't think it was a very good audition for Carlos to other teams, but I'll end there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Red Bull, another history-making weekend for them. I mean,
of course.
I didn't even realize they could have gotten their 100th pole, and they did. And then their first pole was in 2019 with Vettel in China, and then they get the 100th in China in 2024, obviously. So that was cool.
That's just such a cool, roundabout thing. We got our first in China, and we got our 100th in China. It's very cool to see.
Their double stack, I mean, they did it twice.
Yeah.
Disgusting. The fastest pit stop was a 1.9. I don't think I blinked that fast.
That is disgustingly fast. And yeah, the fact that they double stacked them both times when they came in is absurd. It's just like there's no other way to describe it. Like
The second time I was like, it's not happening. They're not doing it again. There's no way. And then what do they do? Do it again.
and they went and did it. They went and did it. I do want to point out, there's this really good video on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen this page on social media. It's called The Race.
Yes.
And they have awesome videos on YouTube of just breaking down different things. And this most recent video they uploaded was talking about the Red Bull second seat and with Carlos and Checo and everything. And they talked about mainly just Checo's consistency this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny because they compared this year to last year. At this point last year, he had a higher amount of points. Like he was at like 105 points or something like that.
Yeah, because
this year he's at like 85.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the confusion or like the comparison there was neat because it was he's got so much better, more consistent results this year compared to last year, where we've had his 2 race wins at this point by last year. So it's like he's getting the massive points boost, but it really just like solidified of something that we said before, just like he's definitely slid more comfortably into the role of I am a second driver. That is okay. I am here to do a job and I'm going to do my job well. And it's really showing. And it's like every race finish where he gets, like his worst race finish was Australia and he got 5th.
Yeah.
And it's like, if he keeps like every top 5 finish he has going forward, it's just inching that door shut on that Red Bull seat, you know, like,
and like we said before, why are you going to change something that's working well? Like with Charles and the medium tires, why are you going to change up a team pairing where you know that second driver is okay with being a second driver and working with the team? So why change it? Yeah, no, he looks good. And I mean, like I said, his patience during the sprint race behind Fernando Alonso and stuff, and then he just sneakily was like, here's my chance, and took it. And that was sick. I think it's fair to say, I've seen a lot of people saying it, that was Max, and it's crazy to say this, but that was Max's most dominant race yet. I can't find the stat, but his lap times were like, he was faster than the top 4 and their lap times. He was just on another level. I mean, at one point
he was cruising.
I think by lap not 10 or 12, he was like 11 seconds ahead.
Yeah, it was very early in the race because I remember noting the same thing, and I was like, he's literally got like a 10-second gap, and it's lap 9. Like,
they literally didn't show him until he crossed the finish line. That's how far ahead he was.
Yeah. Like, I legitimately think the only time I saw him was the start of the race. The one double stack pit stop that they did, just because they're gonna show a double stack.
Yeah. And
then the end of the race. That was it.
And what is it? Is it a blue flag when they lap someone? They have to let them by. Is that a blue flag?
Yeah, the blue flag will be presented to the car that's getting lapped, and it'll know I have to let the person by. I'm
going off on a tangent because this is where Indy's different. IndyCar. So the front of the pack was going to lap some cars. And the one car they had to get around was on the same team as the guy that won. He didn't have to let the guy in second place by. So he was in the mix with the front. So then they're like, is he going to defend on Joseph Newgarden? Which is interesting. Like, can you imagine MaxVerstappen coming around and he has to defend on Logan Sargent? Like Logan Sargent has to defend him. They don't let him by. I thought it was so interesting. I don't think I ever realized that with IndyCar, but yeah, they were coming back around the front of the pack. And they literally, he obviously let his teammate who was in front go around. And then he didn't have to let Joseph Newgarden get by. So they could play the team game and he could just be blocking him and defending him, sacrificing his own race. At that point, he was already in last.
That's really cool. That's such an interesting rule. If
you go back and watch the IndyCar race, you have to keep an eye out for it. It'll be towards the end. But yeah, it was so interesting. But I was like, wow. I was like, can you imagine say Perez gets a bad start one time, has to get a front wing replaced and is near the back, and Max comes around.
Yeah.
And Checo can defend the people. He gets in front of Checo, and then Checo can defend the people behind him from trying to get to Max.
That's so interesting. That would be
Mhm.
so interesting to see.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring that up. But yeah, Red Bull. I mean, Max lost Australia. He's not losing the rest of the year. I'm sorry, he's not.
God, no
He's
way.
not. Want to finish with Joe because it was historic, and I have a bone to pick. I want to say, and I won't say these content creators' names, but a lot of people have been calling them out. But obviously, they had a celebratory spot for him at the end of the race, a parking
Yeah,
spot.
I love that, by the way. That
Which
was so
I
cool.
love because it was historic.
Yeah.
He was the first Chinese driver in F1 to ever drive to finish a race. Like it was historic. It wasn't just for him finishing that race. Wasn't just for him. It was for the entire country of China as well.
It was for that whole nation.
Yeah, the first time he's driving at home after years of it being canceled. Just you could tell it meant so much, and it was like almost 5 o'clock in the morning at that point. And
Well, yeah.
he gets out of the car and then like starts crying, and I was like, I can't do this. I'm gonna start crying. Like
When he gets out and he like is waving to everybody, and then there's one point where he like squats down and just puts his head in his hands. I literally too was like, this is it's so emotional and like so cool to see.
I was listening to the F1 people, the F1 TV crew, and they were even like being like, this is everything. I mean, he didn't finish in the points, Joe. He finished the race, which is huge for South.
It's huge. So, yeah.
I mean, but like the crowd was so behind him.
Oh my God, yeah.
It was so good. But yes, there are certain creators that were making fun of me and like, why are they celebrating 14th? There was that one meme of like the podium, and that's like the last place person is the one celebrating the champagne. People were like, you missed the entire point that it was historic for a reason. Yeah. Like, it's not celebrating 14th. It's celebrating that he's the first Chinese driver in F1. Like, and that's what people are like, well, they're going to do this now for everyone. No, they're not going to do it for Logan in Miami. They're not going to do it for Charles in Monaco. Like, they're not the first of their nation to ever drive and finish an F1 race. Yeah, it was people. I mean, they went as far as deleting the one tweet, but the internet will remember. So,
of course they will.
Yeah, but yeah, what they did for Joe.
No, sorry. I thought the celebratory Joe flag, whatever you want to call it, like stand, at the end of the race was so cool. There was one lap, I forget which one it was, where Joe had an overtake right there in front of the grandstands.
Oh, it was so good.
Straight. And you just saw as he's coming around the car. I can't remember any other detail about it, and it probably makes sense because I'm just staring at the crowd the whole time. Everybody, you can see just the people like standing up, like cheering, like you can hear the crowd kind of getting louder in the background. And I was like, I remember writing it down. I was like, that was such a good time to overtake for Joe. Like, obviously he's not being like, driving the car like, oh, I'm going to overtake him here so I can do it in front of the stands. But yes, the fact that he pulled off a nice clean overtake in front of the grandstands on the straight was just like so cool to see. And it must have meant so much to him. And like, I don't know how he lets it all out after the race, but like, I don't even know how like during the race, that's contain that. Like,
how do you not get emotional during that race? Like,
right. Just like I'm sure the pure elation he felt of just like, oh my God, I just did that in front of like everybody.
My home.
Like,
that's what it was Alex Jakes or whatever. Someone was like, obviously there's people in the crowd. They're in different team gear, whatever. They're here for different drivers.
Of course.
But that entire crowd was there for Joe. Every single person was there for Joe as well. And it showed. Yeah, that crowd cheer rivaled Lando taking the lead in Silverstone.
Yes. Yeah.
That gave me chills, but that crowd, it just felt, you just knew you were watching history being made. And the fact that I love that they let him park there at the end. Like, they literally showed Max get out and, like, run to the, like, Red Bull thing, but they didn't even let finish because they went right back to Joe because he was still taking it in. I was like, I don't need to see Max run to the Red Bull team for the 20th billionth time in a row. Like, let me watch Joe take this in. Yeah. It was, the emotion was, it was special, you could tell. It was a good one. Happy for Joe.
Happy for Joe, too. But so it was very fun to see. Yeah, and I mean, like, again, It's just not the same because we haven't had a Chinese driver like first time like do that, and it was I agree with perfectly what you're saying. You knew you were watching history, and you knew you were watching this like significant moment in Joe's life that he's gonna remember forever. And
you were watching core memory be made for him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No,
and not only him, like all those people in the stands too, probably watching that. Like that's gonna be something like some kid. I would not be shocked 10 years down the line, we're seeing a story about a kid who was 7 or 8 at this race and was like, I remember watching Joe Guanyu like
like that picture they have of him with like the Alonso flag or the Michael Schumacher flag. Like, it was. That's what they were saying. They're like, it's literally a homecoming for him. He moved away at a young age because karting wasn't a thing in China. Like, it was the perfect homecoming. And I mean, for him to finish, if the roles were reversed and he was the one to retire and have engine failure, I would have been in tears for him.
Yeah.
I would have been crying.
I would have been pretty upset. But yeah, the fact that he had a nice clean race, and I mean that's the thing. It was that's so important as a driver. It's just like I can do this and I can finish this race in front of my home crowd. Like perfect. And all this history and impactful moments attached to it just made it 10 times better for Joe. So yeah, extremely happy for him, and it was such a cool thing to see.
Yeah. But yes, I think that was the end of our China recap. Like I said, it's a lot that happened.
Feels like it. We knew it was going to be a long one.
Yeah, we definitely knew it was going to be a long one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of our episode this week. If you've made it an hour and 45 minutes in, thank you. We love you. We should put a question that I can post and be like, if you make it to the end.
We should. Okay.
If you make it this far, post to us.
If you make it,
we should have planned this earlier, but I didn't think it was gonna be
this
long.
Here you go. Ready?
Oh
wait, no. If you don't watch the video, you're not gonna know that.
No, that's what I'm saying. We have to give him a sentence.
Hold
to
up
say.
Something. Yeah. If you made it this far in the episode, post on Threads. Casey will. I guess we'll start the thread of just saying put your answers here. Tell us what we said, and the key phrase that you're going to tweet is, "My favorite ice cream is vanilla bean."
Yeah, there you go.
And if you made it this far, that's what you need to say. My favorite ice cream is vanilla bean. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, post that on Threads once this episode's out. But yes, like Casey said, if you made it this far, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
For the hour and 45-minute long episode, now 47-minute long episode. So.
Do you want me to close this out? I can go faster.
Close this out. This episode doesn't need to go any longer than it already has. So
thank you for turning into episode 57 of F1 Underground. We will be back next week to preview Miami, a history with Owen. We talked about it. We already teased for the history of Ferrari in the blue. Hopefully we know what it looks like by then because we can react to it.
Hope.
Yes. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Our socials have been at the bottom the entire time. We are also, I posted on Threads today, we are trying to be more serious, code word trying, and he made a LinkedIn. So if you want to search for us on LinkedIn.
I was like, what?
Well, search
what are we trying
LinkedIn.
To be more serious about?
It's just the show name. You can find us, give us a follow if you would like. But yes, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week, and hope you all have a wonderful week and weekend. See ya.
See you later.